Like I seem to be a concentrated funnel for people to send their inquiries. So I teach two of our flagship courses, the level one and the level two. And so I get to funnel. I'm the tip of the spear for like the questions that come through, a couple hundred students a semester. And I think they're all pretty high level to start. And they're hopefully in the 4 months of these courses run that they're even higher level to leave. So I think I get a curiosity concentrate that is super valuable, that each one has their own curiosity that they bring to the table. So I get like I get to keep my finger on like a meta pulse of like what the industry's like really like what the inquiries are. And then I guess I go just sit on my computer and hunt down answers or get on my phone and start calling people and start piecing some stuff together. So it's a unique position to be in for sure.
That's a good position to be in. I guess you're getting first access to everything that everyone sort of really needs, and you can provide the best quality stuff.
Yeah. It's nice. The community we've cultivated is very inquisitive, and people just want to know. Like, they always want to know the first thing that comes to mind, and then we all sort of collectively go to. Well, it's like it's a knee-jerk reaction, and then we all kind of dig deeper on it, and we're all hopefully at a point where we can just go, I was way off. It's actually this, or we were kind of close, and it was that. But it's fun, man. Like it keeps you on your toes for sure.
Oh, for sure. How important do you think it is for people to be like strength and resistance training in general, from what you've seen?
It depends, man. Like I definitely have to be wary of my biases and the fact that I attract people who are more prone to it, understanding that that's like not a large part of the cross section of the population. I think it fulfills a need. I don't necessarily know if everyone needs to do it. I think people need to fulfill whatever that need is. Like to me, psychology trumps physiology all day, and I'm a physiology guy. But even I'm not, full of enough hubris to be like, no, like everyone needs to squat, bench, and deadlift. I think that's just silly. I think there's a need that resistance training can. It's almost like, maybe here's a comparison. Again, this is like kind of what I do. I would say it's the same relationship between like a vegetarian or vegan maybe and like getting all of their amino acids. Like it's probably harder to go in and find all the essential and non-essential from fucking lentils or chickpeas or whatever the fuck people eat that don't eat meat. It's just way easier to just grab a fucking porterhouse and just dome the ass of a fucking cow. So it's probably similar. Like, can you get the health benefits of what you need? To a certain degree, I think so. Like, can you get the bone density qualities of resistance training by other means? Probably. Is it going to be as efficient as just putting a fucking bar on your back every now and then? Probably not. So I would say that's probably like an adequate. I know plenty of very athletic, very capable vegan. I work with a handful of guys in the National Football League here in America or North America that are vegan, and they're monsters. Because all it is it's, your isoleucine, leucine, valine, methionine, phenylalanine, all the other fucking amino acids, and you just get them by alternate. It's annoying, and I'm just going to like, I'm going to eat this dead thing. But they don't jive that way, and that's cool. And I know people who are healthy that don't lift weights, and that's cool too. So like, I'm not like super dogmatic. It's just like, you need the end result. You need to scratch that itch. Physiologically and psychologically, resistance training doesn't have to be the method in which you do that or the vehicle in which that gets done.
But it's still a good vehicle.
It's a very efficient vehicle. Yeah, absolutely. It says the mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation. I was like, oh, that book will fucking do that.
Get you right in the goods. Oh, dude, I love that. I'm going to have to upgrade my list now. God damn it. You keep going more books. You're like, oh, shit. One of the things I was going to say, I'm pretty sure it was either a Plato or a Socrates quote, was that, too much of an athlete, you become too much of a savage, and too much of a scholar, basically, you become too much of a nerd. And I love, and I really respect that about you, is obviously you got the contrast for both, because I love that. I love kind of splitting things off into like body, mind, and business. And it's like, if you can do that, in terms of like me growing up through my childhood and stuff, and I'm sure a lot of other people can relate, you just look at heroes and you're like, oh, God damn, I want to be like a hero. I want to be like that guy. I want to be like that person on this story that I've heard, or this TV thing that I saw, and blah, blah, blah. And if I look at all the different heroes through like all different genres, all different stories, a lot of them, especially the masculine ones, always are like either super smart, they're really strong, and like they're extremely caring and like empathetic as well. And if you can like bring that, or have like a mission that they serve that's beyond themselves, right? A bit of Frederick Nietzsche spice in there. So it's like, and when I see that in someone, and I just get like super motivated myself to go out there and crush stuff. And like, because you're doing that, man, I was just like thank you for that, and like massive respect, because I love that so much.
Have you probably get a kick out of an author. Have you ever heard of the author Joseph Campbell?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, Hero of a Thousand Faces.
Yeah, done Hero of a Thousand Faces. The next book I'm reading actually by his, one of them is I'm either going to do a Carl Jung book or Path to Your Bliss by Joseph Campbell.
Path to Your Bliss. So, and now the interesting thing about that is before he died, he regretted calling it Path, or what? So it was called Path to Your Bliss. What was the quote? It was, he wanted to call it Path to Your Blisters.
Oh.
Right?
I like that.
How good is that? Because like it is a really, so Path to Your Bliss is good, but like he, knowing that, after he regretted calling it that and he wished to call it Path to Your Blisters. Yeah. Was like, fuck. It
makes so much more sense though, because I've heard a lot of stories in the book, and the general consensus of it is like, yeah, well, obviously you want to follow your bliss, and everything's going to be hard, so choose the hard path for the tasks that are going to be best for you.
It's
the blisters that you want to get, man. That already makes sense.
It's like Henry VIII, right? If you've ever read Henry VIII, Knights of the Round Table. Oh, so Knights of the Round Table, classic.
I know the story, but I haven't read it.
Do you know the quote, Ster Calenus Invenitor?
Nope.
In Ster Calenus Invenitor is, in filth shall be found.
Ooh,
one of my favorite. Right. So it's basically the Knights of the Round Table. That story is about finding the Holy Grail. Right. So like whatever interpretation of the Holy Grail, the cup that Jesus drank out of, or the something that held his blood, like his actual blood. It's up for interpretation. But Henry VIII is they're at the round table. So him and all his like knights are all on the same level. They're all, it's not like there's someone at the head of the table. And the mission is like, okay, we're pretty sure it's in this forest. We don't know where to start looking. And they're instructed to enter the forest at the place where they think it's darkest. So you have all these different dudes going in at different points, but it's all the same relative point to them because they all think it's darkest. And that's how they find it. It's fucking cool stuff. Finding people around you who are willing to show you your blind spots, your dark spots, those are the most valuable people you have. Is, whether it's in a relationship, whether it's a therapist, whether it's a business mentor. It's like, I literally 2 hours ago, the reason I had to push back is I had a call with my business coach. He would hate if I called him that. And it's the most uncomfortable hour of my entire week. And it's the one I hate and also look forward to the most. And it's just, your body does things to protect itself from feeling pain. And we know that from like a physiological level. It's the same thing psychologically. So it's just like, you have someone just go, let's talk about that. How about that entranceway into the forest, my friend? And it's fun, man. Like, it's fun because if you can see it in the context of like the story, right? If you can see it in the context of the myth, then you kind of become the hero of that story.
Yeah. And it's I find it interesting that we're always constantly sort of doing something that is aligned with that story. It's just different parts of our lives we've mastered in different areas. Like that's why I think actually going to the gym and having some sort of program and actually doing it to the best of your ability, not just getting into the gym, I want to get in shape, but actually learning about it, being interested, and going through and learning as much as you can, because it plays out in other areas of your life, which can show up really well, which is what I find that like a lot of people who do have, like you say, optimized bodies, strong bodies, are extremely disciplined and resilient in other areas of their life. And they're not scared to, either get hurt, feel pain here, or dive into something, or know that something's going to get uncomfortable and then intentionally go and get uncomfortable and then come out and be like, that was so much better now that I've done that. So. Yeah,
it's sort of like a Sisyphean story if you're into Camus.
Ooh, what's that?
Sisyphus? The myth of Sisyphus? Pushing the rock up the hill?
Yes, I know. Yeah, he's doing it forever.
Yeah, but that's what life is, though.
Yeah,
but that's life. It's just like, but the nice part is you get to choose the rock.
Yeah, I love that. So good. Do you, just as well, before we like wrap it up, and I just wanted to get back onto the training stuff.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I could probably do more on the psych stuff, honestly.
Yeah, because there was just a question that I had that I really wanted to like ask you, and that was like, do you always follow a specific program whilst you're training, or do you sort of just go in there and like you have like either time off, follow a program, or do you just sort of, because you know like vast amounts, you just get in there and be like, you know what, this today?
No, the program is always written from an intent base, not an exercise base. I think that's always something that people lack, and they can't parse out the difference between the two. So like I write my programs based off of intent.
Yeah.
So each movement has a specific intent, because it's hard. Like I travel a lot, so I don't have access to the same kit all the time. So I need to know how to replicate that intent, so the stimulus stays relatively consistent to the muscle groups that I'm attempting to train in a particular block. So I write intent-based program, and it's really easy. You know, when you do it a lot, you can start to be like, oh, okay, like this. The gym I'm in now is like, I would say the best kitted out gym in the entire world. So Pure Muscle and Fitness in Burlington. So I have access to, every type of resistance profile, for better or for worse, because there's some machines that are complete rubbish. But I can sit there and go like, oh, okay, like this machine is probably better arm path for my rhomboids, and it has like a decent resistance profile that matches kind of my strength curve. But if I'm in Dubai tomorrow and I'm at like I was in Istanbul in June, and like not really the same fitness driven culture that we have in Canada, my goal is still to have some sort of favorable rhomboid bias initial pull for my exercise one of this program. I just need to be able to exact that intent by different means. So I just need to be able to fit that, put that square peg in a square hole, rather than just going in and just going, well, back workout's back workout. I like to keep an intent based. And whether it's like strength focused is my reference point, whether it's some sort of like working through an injury is my reference point, hypertrophy is a reference point. And those reference points don't even need to be from like a macro or even meso perspective. It can actually be in a micro perspective. Like each exercise can have with it a different reference point. Like, there are some exercises that are really good at eliciting trunk rotation that aren't the best lat movements. But if my reference point is improving trunk rotation, then it's a really good movement, right? So like a single arm dumbbell row is kind of a shitty lat movement. It's not great. Like the amount of your elbow bends to how much your elbow bends as the arc of shoulder extension works your lat to a shortened position. That decrease in distance between the dumbbell and your lat as your elbow bends as you row is nowhere near close enough to accommodate for the drop off and potential force output of your lat as it shortens. But it's fucking wicked at getting your trunk to rotate. So it's like, well, if so back day today, A1 is like improved trunk rotation. That'll set a way better. I tore my right pec 3 years ago prepping for the Arnold in Australia. And so I have crazy trunk rotation biases. So if I try and go through any other bilateral movement, it's going to be asymmetrical as fuck. So it's like, well, if I can just normalize the perception of my trunk rotation, like unilaterally, before I go into like some high output second machine row thing, I'm going to be way better off. So that's my intent of my first exercise. And everyone's like, dumbbell rows are shitty for your lats. It's like, well, screw you, nerd. I'm not trying to train my lats anyway. So fuck you. Like this reference point for this exercise is to improve trunk rotation. So it's just fun. Like that's how I program, is just based off of the intent. And then I can just cycle through any number of exercises and elicit the same intent, as long as I understand how the external stimulus affects the internal environment.
Dude, I love that. And that's insane. So you sort of have like, obviously depending on like the person and for yourself, it's like, I've got these certain exercises which have a certain intent for each one. And then wherever I go, whatever I'm doing, I'll just slot whatever the intent is per exercise for what I'm doing. And that's going to get me the best results.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, specificity over novelty, I think, is my approach.